At 6 p.m., the Board of Trustees Colerain Township convened for the meeting on October 5th, 2021. Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger?
Here.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Here.
Mr. Waller?
Here.
We'll be going for executive sessions. Mr. Jeff Mills.
Yes, sir. I recommend that the board go into make a motion to go into executive session in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G3 to discuss pending or imminent litigation with the township attorney, and also in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G8 to consider confidential information relating to specific business strategy and to discuss negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance.
I motion that we go into executive sessions for the reasons detailed by Administrator Mills.
I seconded. Any discussions?
None from me.
Okay. Mr. Matt?
None.
Okay. Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
Mr. Waller?
Aye.
The Board of Trustees will be convening for the executive sessions. We'll be back. Please have a seat. It's 7 p.m. October 5th, 2021. The Board of Trustees back from the executive sessions. Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger?
Here.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Here.
Mr. Waller?
Here.
Mr. Mills, anything you'd like to report?
There's nothing to report this evening.
Okay. Then we'll continue our trustee meeting. Would you all please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of meditation. Let us pray for the George Pearson family and also rest of our families that we're going through a hard time during this pandemic season. So also let us keep on thinking, praying for our children in schools, they safely the school and come back home. And let's keep praying for our country. We're going through a hard time, okay? So let's keep in our thoughts and prayers. Have a seat, please. The next on the agenda is a fiscal office report.
Thank you, Board. My apologies, but 1 week seemed to not be quite enough with the substance of the two meetings from last week for the minutes, so they are not prepared. So I will have those ready for the next meeting as well as tonight's minutes. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff. The next on the agenda is the public hearings.
There are no public hearings this evening, sir.
Okay, then we'll continue on the presentations.
No presentations.
Good. The next on the agenda is citizens' address. I have a want to present former Hamilton County Sheriff Jim Neal. Would you please come up, please?
Good evening, Sheriff. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Sheriff.
I've known you for a long time.
Is your mic up, Jim?
1980.
Mike?
I've known you for a long time. We go back to 1980.
Thank you, Sheriff.
And not just for you, but I look around the room here, all of you that are serving, and the men behind me as well, in public service. Continue on with your good work. We've been going through some hard times lately with both the COVID and sometimes the public attitude. But I will tell you that there's nothing greater than serving the people, and continue on with the good work. I'll pray for you all, and God bless you for what you're doing. And I'll leave it short. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Sheriff, one second. I got a great privilege to work with you. I know we went to school together. We graduate from graduate school together, same time. We start working as a deputy sheriff. And at the end of my retirement, I have the privilege to work for you. You hired me as the director of the programs, and we built a great program for the substance abuse ladies, and the reentry program, also veterans program. As I think the substance abuse program is one of the best in the country, and the substance abuse part, G part, we call them, and this putting together all the girls beneath the substance abuse instead of purely incarcerated. That's a great program, and give them treatment and prepare them to go on the street, and we got the case management. I mentioned about this last meeting also, and you initiated this program. You gave me the privilege to run the program. I thank you so much.
Thank you, and continue on.
Thank you for your
Thank
kind
you,
words,
sir.
Sheriff.
The next on the list is Cathy Moore, please.
Good evening.
Good evening. I understand that there was a Zoom meeting yesterday on the 2022 budget, and I was wondering, is that going to be replayed on Waycross?
Jeff will answer that question.
That-
Right.
Yeah,
So, yes, she wants to know if the Zoom meeting will be replayed.
Got it.
Okay.
go ahead, Cathy, please.
I was very happy to see that you're finally making some policies. They're long overdue. So I just want to see if it was missed by some chance or it was intentionally left off. Is a gift donation policy. I notice in a lot of the agendas, it says that staff reviewed this or staff did that. I'd like to know who staff is. Is that a certain group of people or everybody? What exactly does that mean? And I see that we're joining, or I don't know what other word you'd use, HealthWorks. And is there any cost to that? And one other thing that, in your new policies, I don't remember which one. I think it might have been under the P card, but it has number 8 and it's blank. And I would like to know, the township went to self-insurance for health insurance, and I'd like to know what that cost, what cost has been appropriated for that. That's all, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cathy. The next, Carrie Davis, please.
Evening. Thank you.
Well, we made history September 15th in Hamilton County. For the first time in over 20 years, the Solid Waste Committee, which Raj sits on, voted unanimously to pass a resolution to establish a subcommittee to propose rules to be implemented by the Waste Committee and the Board of Commissioners to control Rumpke and any solid waste hauler or landfill in Hamilton County's jurisdiction. The last time this was brought up was by Colerain Township. They refused to vote to support the solid waste plan for the county because they had no rules. And every county around us has rules regarding where solid waste can go and where landfills can go. Hamilton County is the only one around us who does not have rules. When Colerain brought this up at a meeting, which I gave you just some notes on it, they were pretty well shut down. And at the very next meeting, in violation of the Ohio statutes, the Solid Waste Committee appointed Bill Rumpke to the committee. And from the time that he was appointed until now, he has been on the committee illegally, and they have never discussed rules. 6 months ago, I undertook this issue, and finally, the Solid Waste Committee, after getting legal opinions and lots of debate, decided I was right, my proposal was good, and it is time for Hamilton County to control where landfills go and how big we'll let them get. Every township, city, and village that I have spoken to on this, the trustees or council people have written letters to the Solid Waste Committee applauding this or asking for them to do this. Everybody wants it done. I have not come to you all because you're not real receptive, and Dan told me he wasn't going to do anything against Rumpke. But anyway, I'd like you all to write letters thanking the Solid Waste Committee for requiring Hamilton County to exercise the authority they have to make rules. Essentially, the primary rule that will be passed gives the Board of County Commissioners and the Solid Waste Committee the authority to veto any decision made by the Ohio EPA. We will no longer have to go and beg the Ohio EPA to listen to our concerns. The Board of Commissioners has far broader authority over solid waste than the EPA. The EPA is limited to the actual landfill itself, whereas the Board of Commissioners can address issues such as the stench that has gone all the way to White Oak now, whereas the EPA couldn't do anything about it. So we'll be able to pass rules on that regard. I would suggest you start thinking, because I'm sure they'll be asking you, what rules do you think should be implemented to protect your residents and your neighborhoods? It's really, it's been a hard fight. It's been really hard, but it's a really big deal what we got done, and I would hope that you guys would give support on that issue. Do you have any questions? Matt, you're not really even paying attention.
I'm sorry, I'm paying attention. I can do two things at once.
Okay.
I'm paying attention, I'm reading this, I'm wondering, this is January 13th, 2000
Yeah.
was the last rules update, right?
There was no update. Colerain Township raised in their concerns when the ratification, the solid waste plan is devised by the committee, and then it has to go to every jurisdiction within the county for their boards, their governing bodies, to either approve or not. Colerain Township was the only one in 2000 that refused to approve it. Everybody else approved it. Of course, why? Because we're the ones dealing with it. And they said, we want rules. They got shouted down. And then, like I said, the statute regarding the composition of the Solid Waste Committee requires 7 people. The statute says who those 7 people are. A landfill operator is not allowed to be on the committee. If they don't remove him soon, I will remove him, because I also have a legal opinion from the AG's office from 1994 that said you cannot, without a waiver approved by the EPA, have additional members on, oh, my time's up. He's worried about my time. Well, our time is just about up where we have to put up with one monopoly dictating everything that happens in this township. And if we write good rules, it can be a good cooperative relationship with Rumpke to serve our needs, their business needs, and still protect our community. So I would ask you all to think about it and write your letters in support of rules.
What was the date of this meeting?
January 2000.
No, the
and
meeting that you had where you,
September 15th.
okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, it's not online, but you'll have to request they're old school, they record it, but they've sent it to me, the recording.
I got you.
We got real lucky because they were really trying to obstruct it, and then Raj and three people on the committee sent a memo to the board, the rest of the board, and said, no, we have to do this. They didn't even know they had the authority to make rules. No idea whatsoever until I introduced it in a presentation. And administration kept pushing it away, didn't want it on the agenda. These three members sent a memo saying, get it on the damn agenda. They put it on the agenda. The three people were for it. We needed 4. The health commissioner jumped in and said, I have read all of Carrie Davis's research, and she's right. And we do need rules, and we need to resolve this issue. And then it went to a full vote, and it was unanimous to go forward. Rumpke was upset, but they should be. It's going to be hard on their business to adjust to the rules, but we all want Rumpke to succeed. They're a good company, a great corporate citizen. Hopefully these rules will make them a good neighbor.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next in the agenda is administrative reports.
Thank you, Mr. Rajagopal. To answer some of the questions from Citizens Address, first question is the Zoom meeting that took place last night, and that's, I think Ms. Moore is referring to the second town hall meeting that was talking about the budget that happened last night. Will that be on Waycross? No, it will not be on Waycross because it was just a town hall meeting. So and those aren't on Waycross. Gift donation policy. We have a gift donation policy. It's in our policy manual. It's on the website right now. So the acceptance of gifts is in our policy book as we sit here today. The question is, who is staff? So I think she's referring to sometimes in the agenda, it'll say, staff recommends such and such. That means sort of the consensus of staff. So either, oftentimes an agenda item will come up through a department, and the department head will make a recommendation, and then it comes to me, and then we make a recommendation as staff to the Board of Trustees, and then that's our job. So when it refers to staff, it could be different on each item because it depends on what department it comes from and what the subject matter is. Joining HealthWorks, is there a cost to that? I'm not exactly sure what that's in reference to. HealthWorks, the biometric screenings. I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. I believe that it's free, but I need to double check to see if anything has changed since we've gone to self-insurance. It was free before, and I believe I'll have to check. So thank you for asking that question. I'll get back to you. P-card policy number 8 is blank. Thank you for pointing that out. And what cost has been appropriated for health insurance? I don't know that off the top of my head, but all of the appropriations occur in appropriations resolution, so I could, or you could go back and look at those fund appropriations. I think that's all the questions that came from the citizens' address, and I don't have any further administrative reports. I know that Chief Denny and Chief Walls both have brief administrative reports. Gentlemen, who would like to go first?
Mr. Mills?
Yes, sir.
Just very quickly, I think the donation policy referred to, and I only know that this happened once, gifts from the township to others instead of receiving gifts.
No, our policy refers to gifts received.
Right, right. And I think that the citizen address was concerned with gifts given.
Gifts given.
Given. And I don't know if that, I think it's a good question whether it's standard across, like if you have somebody that retires, we give them,
Oh, this is related to former trustee Ensko's watch. Is that what? Is it in reference?
I guess, but I think that the broader question is it a standard policy if you serve, I don't know, like at the Diocese of Kentucky, if you serve 10 years, you get something.
I see.
Or Covington, you get 15 years, you get something.
Sure.
I know that kind of takes almost an emotional thing and quantifies it and says, all right, you did 15 years, you did 20 years. But I think that the overall point is that, is it something that should be consistent?
I see. So
Yeah.
gifts to employees or
Employees and or elected officials.
Elected officials.
Yeah.
from the township?
From the township itself. I mean, my personal opinion, doesn't, anybody can disagree, is that if I want to buy something for somebody who's leaving the township, it should come from my pocket.
Got it.
And not from like general funds or something. So I don't know if that's something that we need to pursue or not, but I certainly, I agree with kind of that push, and that now if it's somebody that's worked as a police officer for 20 years, then it's different.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's things like challenge coins. There's things like the employee appreciation luncheon. Is that a gift?
Yeah, I know. It's a very gray area.
Right.
And I think the general spirit of it is to kind of ungray it a little bit, but I don't know that's ever going to happen. You're right. What's a challenge coin worth? And
Well, maybe what we can do is benchmark. We can find out what other communities are doing and see if and bring a recommendation to the board.
that'd be great. That would.
Happy to do it.
Right. Sorry, Chief.
Just one item. You saw the police car that's parked right under the flagpole as you walked in. From October 1st to October 19th, that car will be there. It's a Fill the Cruiser. So we're asking for donations for food to support the Taylor Elementary Food Pantry. So you can drop them off at the police department, and we will look at them and place them inside the police car, and we'll hopefully fill the cruiser up by November 19th. So that's what that's for out there, and it'll be out there until that date, and hopefully it gets filled up. And I just wanted to thank Sheriff Neal for taking the time to be here. It's great to see him. He was a great partner to work with, and it's good to see that he's enjoying retirement. And hope to see more of him. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Good evening to the board and those in attendance and those watching virtually. Just two quick things. October the 9th is coming Saturday.
It's off the
Colerain Give Back Day. My apologies. We still have room for persons who may want to volunteer their time on Saturday. The way to do that, though, is to contact Assistant Chief Mueller at 513-825-6143, and he can get you signed up. We'll be meeting at 7:30 at the community center on Saturday, and I believe there were 15 to 20 properties that we'll be out making improvements. And then secondly, the month of October, you might notice us in some different attire. I can hold this up here real quick. In support of breast cancer awareness, our personnel have been authorized to wear clothing in support of. The money's received for that, then will be donated to breast cancer awareness, and that's my report for tonight. Thank you.
Chief, where can you buy those shirts?
Get with me and we'll get you hooked up.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Mills. The next on the agenda is administrative reports. Guys, gentlemen, who wants to go first?
Trustees report.
Trustees. Oh, I'm sorry, trustees report.
Sure, I'll go first. Congratulations to everybody connected with the Don Schwaben Society. They had a very well-attended, awesome event over this past weekend, and the weather was 80% cooperative, which was good. It's nice to have people out having a good time. With regards to the comments about Rumpke, there was the previous Board of Trustees negotiated a contract relevant to the landfill expansion, and it puts limitations on anything the township could do, and so we would have to look at it and see if that was something we could participate in or not. But and the contract is available, and I have read through it several times. It's been a few months, so I'd have to look back at that. But the Board of Trustees and any future Board of Trustees is limited on what they can do based on that 2015 agreement. Thanks to everybody who's been so kind over the last, I always get out and go to a lot of places, but you know, with what's coming up next month, I've been out to quite a few more, and I'm just really impressed with how nice people have been. About 2 or 3 Sundays ago, I went out with Mike Evangelo from the Northbrook group, and there's a van in the ditch way down behind Taylor Elementary, and it looks like they've come to an agreement on how to get it out of there. And congratulations to Mike and the others with the group for getting that ball rolling. With regards to the gift policy, once again, I will say I have never accepted any gifts from the township, nor have I ever turned in an expense report to the township. I'm just here having a good time being a trustee. That looks like all of my comments, because I was taking notes as we go along. And thank you very much, and thank you, Raj.
Thank you, Dan. Matt, do you want to go, or?
Sure. Thank you, Sheriff Neal, for the kind words. I didn't get a chance to go to Donna Schwaben. I was actually en route to the Zach Brown concert in Pittsburgh, which was canceled this weekend because he had COVID. But the moral of the story is I did get a chance for the 3rd time to go to Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. It was, and we've talked about 9/11 in this body a number of times, and it was rejuvenating a little bit to see the place packed. It was the 3rd time I've been there. I've never seen more people than I saw there. And I know that they're not watching, even though they said they would, but the Central Michigan Chippewa Lady field hockey team was there. And as an educator, I guess I just, I'm moved when people who weren't even born when 9/11 happened go and they listen to the calls, and they listen to what happened, and they're able to bear witness to what happened that day in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. We're still working on trash issues, and it's one of the things wherever I go, I'm taking pictures of trash issues, ways to kind of add some spruce to the township, to everybody whose patience kind of runs out with me as I'm in the car with them, and I'm like, stop, I need to take a picture of this median. You would think, wow, what a great time. Not everybody thinks the same way on that, and some of the things I noticed in Pittsburgh were really cool and fantastic, and I've actually reached out to their city council to talk about some of the things they do too. The benefit, and I've said this a number of times to our system of governments with federalism, is that you can, my students I'd give a plagiarism grade to, and they'd have to do it over again, but you can go to different communities, find out what works, and just unabashedly steal it and use it for your own. And whenever I go out of town on various trips, I try to kind of keep account of that, and there's a couple entries with Pittsburgh, so hopefully we can move some things along with that. And the other thing that we had checked on, I think it was with Mr. Dieter, so maybe I need to wait till about the donation bins as we get cooler and we see the COVID situation. I don't know if that's something that we were able to get some kind of guidance on. And then the last thing is, Mr. Mills, we had talked about for Memorial Day Veterans Day and future, just lining the area with the flags, like again, I'm stealing this from Miami Township of Dayton, that does a fantastic, I mean, they're major flags. I think the cost is not real, you can buy a big flag for like $5, and they kind of use PVC stuff to kind of put it in the ground, and I think that would be a good kind of recognition of veterans. I think I've said a number of times that Colerain Township has a much higher percentage of veterans in the township than does anywhere really in Hamilton County, in the greater Cincinnati area, and I want to pay the respects for the sacrifices they've made. So maybe we can talk about that offline later and what we can do with that. So other than that, thank you. If you need me, call me. As as Dan would always say, and I will see what we can do to move things forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, Matt. It's a lot of several great events happen this weekend in Colerain Township. It's a great memorial thing, unbelievable things. The first time ever, the cricket match. Would thank Jackie. This 2 days cricket match. Teams from Michigan, Columbus, India, and everywhere. Some of the players came from all the way from New York, everywhere, and of course the Cincinnati team also played. So a lot of young talents were there, and it's a 2-day match, and there was sponsors there, and they pass out the trophies. The first day was very successful. Second day it started raining, but they started playing after 2 o'clock. Rain stopped. That was a great event, especially I want thank Jackie for getting that field. Also, I thank our public works workers. They helped to get that field ready for that match. They worked very hard. I really thank them. And also, this another event happened in Colerain is Donna Schwaben, the Oktoberfest. I think what that festival is, when I saw that, it's amazing that we keeping that historical value, the Colerain Township heritage, and they keep the tradition, the prevailing, Colerain Township, yet putting the Colerain Township top of that list in the country. And I saw the young people dancing and wearing that the outfit, and it's incredible because we're passing along the rich value of our Colerain Township, the heritage, the immigrants. They came here, settle, build this beautiful township. That's a reflection when you see it, and it was amazing how this organization Donna Schwaben did doing it to sustain that. The cultural image, the heritage, and historical value. I know many people would have went to the, Dan, you were there too, and some of the people, Chuck, you were there, and you saw that. Yeah, Jeff was there. And it's incredible. See, it's not only it's Oktoberfest, the reflection of the value, the heritage that Colerain Township has. That's incredible. And also I met with the Metro bus, Metro CEO. I mentioned about they're awarding $400,000. Another thing he said, they are planning to give next year also. So we continue to build the Colerain Avenue, a beautiful place, sustaining the clean, the beautiful. I know they're going to build all this landscape and everything, and that's promising. And we're going to get the award next year. Of course, we got to apply for the award. So these are things I want to share. Then again, I want to thank our former sheriff for his outstanding service for this community, for the county for 8 years. He built great programs. Thank you.
Mr. President, a question about what you just said. So the Metro Award will be awarded next year.
No, we already got that.
We already awarded, but it'll be spent next
for
year?
this year, and the $400,000 we will be receiving it. I don't know, the October sometimes.
I think the integrating committee is the last level of approval, but
Yeah, it's already the October. Then also he also mentioned to me that next year also we might apply for.
Okay, that's what I missed.
Different.
Okay, that's what I misunderstood. And I just want to recognize real quick, I should have earlier, that a special guest in the crowd. I love it when Boy Scouts come and do their citizenship. I'm assuming that's why you're here. Sorry to embarrass you in front of everyone, but do you want to introduce yourself or? Awesome. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, ma'am. So we'll move on to the next on the agenda is public safety. That comes from the new business.
First items of new business are coming from the police department and will be presented by Chief Denny.
Good evening, Board. Couple items, hang on one second here. Several resolutions for debris and some junk vehicle removal. So the first one is recommend adoption of a motion, of a resolution declaring a nuisance and ordering abatement at the following properties: 9529 Adams Road, 3233 Lapland, 10,037 Marino, and 8806 Nabita.
I move to declare a nuisance and order abatement at the properties listed in Chief's motion.
I will second it.
Any discussions?
Not at this time.
Okay, Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger,
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal,
Aye.
and Mr. Waller.
Aye.
Next item is recommend adoption of a motion to declare and order abatement of a junk vehicle at the following property: 2909 Jack Frost Way. It's a silver 2006 Chevy Venturi.
I'll motion to declare a junk motor vehicle, silver 2006 Chevrolet Venture at 2909 Jack Frost Way.
I will second it.
Any discussions?
Yes. I'm really glad we passed the junk car resolution. That one has been sitting there for years. And I actually, knowing that it was going to be on tonight's agenda, I did run over there today just to make sure it was still there. It has not moved. The neighbor, Jacqueline, is thrilled because I told her it would be on the for a vote tonight. So
You'll have your
thanks
opportunity
for-
to buy it if you want to.
It just needs to go. And the fence on that property is another issue, and the fence is falling down a little bit. But that vehicle's just been sitting there a very long time, and I know it took a while to get our junk motor vehicle resolution together, but it's legally tested, and here we go, and we're on our third or fourth meeting of legally removing cars from property, so I think this is great.
Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger,
Aye?
Mr. Rajagopal,
Aye.
Mr. Waller.
Aye.
Next item is recommend adoption of a motion to declare and order abatement of the junk motor vehicle located at the following property: 8154 Blanchetta Drive. It's a 2005 black Chevrolet 1500.
I'll motion to approve a resolution declaring a junk motor vehicle, a 2005 black Chevrolet 1500 at 8154 Blanchetta Drive.
I will second it.
Any discussions?
Not from me.
Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger,
Aye?
Mr. Rajagopal,
Aye.
Mr. Waller.
Aye.
Recommend adoption of a motion to declare and order abatement of the junk motor vehicle at the following property: 10,028 Crusader Drive, a black Chevy Tracker, a 2004 Chevrolet Tracker.
I'll motion to approve a resolution declaring a junk motor vehicle, a 2004 Tracker at, as I scroll down here, sorry, at 1028 Crusader Drive.
I second. Any discussions?
It's 10,000.
10,028 Crusader Drive,
10,028
sorry.
Crusader Drive. No other comments from me.
Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger,
Aye?
Mr. Rajagopal,
Aye.
Mr. Waller.
Aye.
Final item is recommend adoption of a motion to declare and order abatement of a junk motor vehicle at the following location: 2479 Ontario. It's a white Ford Focus, unknown year.
A motion to approve an adoption of the motion to declare an order abatement for junk motor vehicle of unknown year white Ford Focus at 2479 Ontario Street.
I second it. Any discussions?
I went and saw that one also. It's very beat up. I can't figure out how it ever got into that driveway. And it just looks very inoperable.
We'll get it out
And
there.
it doesn't look like anybody's ever taken it apart. It looks like somebody unloaded it there. So I think that house is empty also. No other discussion.
Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger,
Aye?
Mr. Rajagopal,
Aye.
Mr. Waller.
Aye.
That's all I have this evening. Thank you, Board.
Hey, Chief, this is the best program we developed, and removing the junk cars from you've been parked for years. People don't, you're sending the message to other people. it's a great program. Thank you for,
Big township, there's a lot to do, but we're getting started and we're doing a good job getting it done, so I'm proud of these guys.
it's a part of our 2021 clean beautification strategic planning, and we are actively, aggressively following that
Absolutely.
goals.
I'm glad to be part of it.
Yeah, thank you.
you.
Thanks to our police officers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. The next item on the agenda is from the Fire Department, and that will be presented by Chief Walls.
Good evening once again. I have a motion here to authorize the Township Administrator to execute an agreement with ESO for a fire records management system. In brief, a 2021 strategic initiative for the Department of Fire and EMS was to determine our records management system needs. Following that comprehensive review, it was determined that ESO offers the integrated suite of software products for fire and EMS that's transforming the way data is collected, shared, reported, and analyzed. Reliable data is critical to our ability to improve community health and safety and assist with data-driven decision-making. We're requesting your approval.
I motion that we would approve to authorize the township administrator to execute an agreement with ESO for a fire records management system. And ESO is the name of the company on the top of the letterhead, which is in the agenda.
I second it. And any discussions?
And I guess this is compatible with, is this similar to what other departments use, or?
Yes, so ESO is probably the largest fire and EMS records management system out there now. And so our plan is to, once we get it implemented, we'll be able to do away with the scheduling program that we have, then likewise do away with another records management system that we have. So we'll be integrating everything into one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, I have a question kind of related to this. I sat through a Homeland Security presentation. I could probably ask Chief Denny as well, but I'd forgotten. Are our systems interoperable between fire and police?
No.
Is that part of a strategic goal?
I think our records management needs are different than what the PDs would be. When you look at ours with protected health information and such, and in respect to what they do, the interoperability probably isn't there.
What about comms?
Communications, yes, we have interoperability with communications.
Is that interoperable too with the county?
Yes.
Okay. That's a little ancillary to that, but thank you.
You're welcome.
And a good example of that interoperable communications occurs whenever we set up the Emergency Operations Center downstairs.
Downstairs.
Yep.
Right.
We'll call the question.
Okay, the roll call, please.
Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
Mr. Wallace?
All right.
Thank you.
The next items of new business are come from the administration department, and I'll take care of those. First item is a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary levies and certifying them to the county auditor. So this is just a pro forma activity that occurs every year. Earlier this summer, the board transmitted its tentative tax budget to the County Budget Commission for review. The County Budget Commission did approve that tax budget, which is great. The next step in the process is for the board to accept the amounts and rates returned by the commission. They're included in the packet as exhibits A and B of the resolution, and then the fiscal officer certifies those back to the county auditor. And on we go to 2022 with the 2022 budget. So,
I'll motion to accept the amount and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorize the necessary levies and certifying them to the county auditor.
I will second it.
Any discussions?
Anybody that's interested, it's right here in the agenda online.
And this is a little bit of a placeholder till we come up with some more specific numbers.
So this is what the county is telling us we're going to collect on the millages that have been approved by Colerain residents. And so we'll use these in our revenue projections for the 2022 budget.
That's great. Any further
No?
No.
roll call, please?
Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
Mr. Waller.
Aye.
Okay, the next on the agenda is old business.
Oh, I've got two more items, new business here. The first is a motion authorizing a services agreement with Zix Corp Systems Incorporated. Over the last several months, staff has evaluated Microsoft Office 365 on a trial basis. This is the software that we use to do all of our word processing and all the work that we do on a computer. So converting the entire township to Office 365 will allow employees to have greater collaboration, improve access, updated functionality, and enhanced security. It'll eliminate the need for some current software and the on-site maintenance of some servers. The term of the services agreement is 1 year, and implementation would begin in October. Recommend adoption of the motion.
I would motion that we adopt authorizing the services agreement with Zix Corporation Systems Incorporated.
I'll second it. Any discussions?
And this looks like the software where every year, as Microsoft updates their programs, because I bought a new computer recently, and now you're married to them, and that's what happens. It isn't like you just keep a system until it gets too old to use. They just want to sell you an update every year.
That's right. It's a subscription.
Right.
Yep. But it allows us to get a lot of our data out of servers that are maintained downstairs. So, and those things can be pretty expensive. So we'll be
Right.
transferring
I
a
know.
lot of our data to the web.
I think I know what it is. It's just
Yep.
the kind of the direction Microsoft has gone with selling their products.
That's right.
And let's talk a little bit about security on this, which is a growing kind of concern. I mean, we're lucky that we have a tech department.
IT director. Yep.
Yeah. Mr. Shepard is fantastic, but this offers some upgraded support. I mean, one of the things that local in townships and cities and schools are falling into is getting ransomed. And this is some added protection. I imagine that would this be required by our ransomware insurance? Or?
No, it's not required by our insurance. I will tell you that the township has been a victim to ransomware, and because of the protocols that Mr. Shepard goes through, we've been able to get all of our data back, maybe only losing a couple of hours of data. So that's not bad at all because of his diligence.
And we didn't pay the ransom.
Absolutely not. No.
So it's amazing that he can go from me calling him saying, I forgot my password, I can't get in, to fighting off ransomware. It's a pretty broad spectrum that is impressive. So.
That's right. Yep. But this has, on the security front, instead of just one Rob Shepard, we have the entire Microsoft corporation that is working to maintain security on their servers, and they have a designated uptime on their servers. They will guarantee you, a certain percentage of uptime in the contract, and so I think that it's more secure.
And this is clearly, so it used to be that the threat matrix was limited to maybe the federal and state governments. This is clearly aimed at school boards, local governments, schools. Anybody can be a victim to this, and I think it's if you talk to FBI experts, it's the biggest threat facing us. So
it has happened to us. Yes.
Yep, I appreciate that. Thank you.
We have an excellent IT department. He monitors it, and he alerts it right away before even damage is done, and he protects, before actually damage is done. And this system, we are getting this more efficiency also. Yes. It's when the technology improves, we got to go through that, follow that improvement and follow the new technology. Yeah. This is great.
This is the backbone of all the work that it's our email, Microsoft Word, Excel, the tools that we use on a daily basis. Those of us who in the office, it's an important tool.
Thank you. Yep. Any further discussions? Okay, Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger?
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye.
Mr. Waller?
Aye.
Thank you, Board. The last item of new business that I have for you this evening is it's just a first reading of a number of policies that the finance department has been developing. Those policies have been vetted through our leadership team, and we are here to present you with draft versions of a update to a purchasing card policy, budget and revenue policy, a new cash policy, new credit card acceptance policy, debt policy, fraud policy, investment policy, uniform guidance policy, and fund balance policy. And all of those drafts are included in your packet and are available for residents to take a look at. And we'll be bringing this item back to the board for in final draft form for consideration on October 26th at your board meeting then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for putting that together. I think one thing that I've learned from you on this with policies is precedent or procedure need to be there, and it gives us a procedure. And I think this is fantastic, and I support it. I also have the kind of the constitutionalist in me that realizes the U.S. Constitution is less than 5,000 words long, and that's what makes it such a great document. So I'm also, the other side of that balance is, where's our necessary and proper kind of clause, where you can't think of every potential issue, and sometimes I'm concerned that policies are cornering administration. So I just want to keep an eye on that too.
Yeah. No, one of the things that Mr. Weckbach, myself, and our leadership team really strives to do is to manage to policy. So, and that policy is set by the Board of Trustees. So, you guys give us clear direction, and then we manage that policy. And I'll tell you, it comes up where, someone asks for something to be done, and I say I can't do that because the policy direction from the Board of Trustees very clearly says I cannot do that. And so we manage to policy. Nobody gets preferential treatment if we're managing to policy. And I think that everybody has a clear expectation of what they're supposed to do and not supposed to do. And so that's why we do it.
And I think the key, in all due deference, the key to that is that it's been a policy that's been laid out through the desires of the board here. Should Mr. Hunger, Mr. Rajagopal decide, or myself decide that we want a different policy, we will go through that procedure too.
Absolutely, and that's the beautiful thing about this, is that as boards change and as their desires evolve, these policies change. They're yours, and it's a tool for me to use in management. So.
It's great. This time too, we can go through all the packages, and next reading, if anything, comment, change is made.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff, for putting together this.
Thank you.
Jeff McElravy was critical on this.
Good, thanks. Mr. Baker, a roll call, please.
No,
Oh, no,
we're
no,
not ready.
you don't need a, okay. All right, then next to the agenda is, go ahead with the.
Yep, very good. So there's no old business this week, but there are several items on the consent agenda, and I'll roll through those quickly. The first is a donation acceptance in the Department of Fire and EMS. It's $200. We request that the authorization to accept that donation. There were two $100 Kroger gift cards from the family of George Pearson Jr. In appreciation for community risk reduction, emergency medical and fire protection services that were provided to the community. The next item on the consent agenda is a donation acceptance to the fire department in the amount of $4,224.00. This is physical fitness equipment and office furniture that was donated by Mr. Edward Waltz of Stone Trace Court here in Colerain, and he was appreciative of community risk reduction, emergency medical and fire protection services that are provided to the community. The next item on the consent agenda is a contract with the Council on Aging. This contract provides a schedule of funds for the delivery of meals to seniors in our community. And then the final contract is the HealthWorks biometric screenings, which is a program that we've had in place for years and years and years. So recommend approval of all the consent items.
We'll make the donations separate, then we'll go to all the,
Oh, okay.
okay?
If you'd like.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll, a motion to accept the $200 the donation for the Department of Fire. Then we got another consent. We'll the separate donation for $4,224.
Would you like to remove that from the consent agenda?
Yeah.
We can just
separate.
motion them one at a time. I would motion that we accept the donation from the Pearson family to the Department of Fire and EMS for $200.
I'll second that. Thank you.
Thank you.
May God rest Mr. Pearson's soul, and I'm glad that our fire and EMS seem to have really made an impression on the family, so.
Okay. Mr. Baker, roll call to accept the donation, please.
Mr. Unger,
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal,
Aye.
Mr. Waller.
Aye.
There's another donation for the Department of Fire and EMS, $4,224.
I motion that we accept the donation of equipment for the Department of Fire and EMS that is valued at approximately $4,224.
Second?
Any discussions?
Thank you
Mr.
to
Baker, roll call, please.
Thank you to Mr. Waltz.
Thank you.
Mr. Unger,
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal,
Aye.
Mr. Waller.
Aye.
Now we got a consent item C and D. The one is Council on Aging, and the one Health Works biometric screenings. Okay? We got a motion to accept these two consent items, C and D.
I motion that we accept consent item C and the Council on Aging contract, and item D, the contract with HealthWorks.
I second it. Any discussions?
Mr. Solomon, so Council on Aging, I have a relative that is the director there. Do I need to?
No,
Okay.
there's no conflict.
Right.
Any, so we got second, any discussions?
No other discussions from me.
I want to commend this Council on Aging the last year, the work during the pandemic was pretty hard. We did a great job, and some of the passing of the meals to the houses. It's a wonderful program. And you know, these people cannot even go to the stores, get food, and we deliver the food to the at that front door. It's an amazing program, and continue to do this program for our senior citizens. Okay.
On the a question was asked during the citizen participation about the HealthWorks contract, which is found here in the agenda, and it looks like the total on it was $824.46. And then there's a fee schedule if we would decide to participate in any of the other services that they offer. No other comments from me, Raj.
Mr. Baker, roll call, please.
Mr. Unger,
Aye.
Mr. Rajagopal,
Aye.
Mr. Waller.
Aye.
Thank you, Board. That's everything.
The next on the agenda is fiscal office report.
Thanks, Board. I don't have a report tonight. But yes, actually, I would like to mention something regarding the town hall, the Zoom town hall last night. Even though it wasn't, there weren't a whole lot of people attending on there, I think there was good conversation that was had, and I did want to thank Melissa Staley, Lori McMullen, and Matt Teetsort for sort of always being involved in those type of things. So I don't think you would find those type of things being done in other townships. So the fact that we're reaching out to the community and they're helping us make decisions on how to spend money, I think is a good thing. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Jeff. The next is adjournment. Jeff, you got any more?
No need for executive session.
Any more? Nothing? Okay, all right.
I would motion that we adjourn the meeting at 7:58 PM.
I second it. It's a pretty short meeting. All right. Go ahead.
We have CIC scheduled for
next Tuesday, but I think the board isn't here.
Right.
So potentially, I'll have to look at the bylaws, but I think that I can reschedule that for the 26th.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we can still have that
Yeah.
within the month of October. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
That's fine. Good luck on Meet the Teacher night next Tuesday, Matt. I hope it goes well for you.
I usually hide in the parking lot.
Okay, it's, what time is it? 7:59. The Board of Trustees meeting.
Gotta call the roll.
Look, Siri is shocked that we're calling at 7:59.
Sorry, I'm not. Anyway,
Seconded, we need to vote.
yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Unger?
Aye?
Mr. Rajagopal?
Aye,
Mr. Wallace?
All right. Didn't get that.
the board meeting is adjourned. That's funny.